In my corporate experience, I've worked with some of the best and worst people in the office, and I just want to share what are some of the worst kind of behaviors, toxic behaviors that I've seen, for the purpose of educating ourselves on what we really don't want to be like, and also some of the strategies that I've learned on the internet on how we can stop those behaviors. I wasn't exactly on the victim side of it, but I've witnessed how some people have treated other people in a really bad way, and I just want to share my personal experience. No names are being named, it's not specific to any company, but rather it's just from my point of view of how I think things should not happen and how I believe we can treat each other better. So the first type of toxic behaviors I've seen is to basically hide one person's mistakes from the other person. And the bad behavior starts when the bad guy spots another team's mistakes, but the bad guy just simply won't tell them. And I suggested to the bad guy that, hey, I think we should tell them so that they can fix it. But the bad guy says, no, we're not going to tell them. And the reason is because the bad guy says it's their freaking responsibility to ensure they get a job well done, and we're not there to be, the checker to make sure they have all their work done. They are supposed to give us everything in one go so that we don't have to check their work. And so here's where the toxic behavior goes up to the next level. The bad guy then sends an email back to the entire team, rejecting the data and asking them to check it all over again while attaching the entire reference material, expecting them to find the flaws in like a needle in a haystack. And it's really terrible when it comes to looking for mistakes in a spreadsheet, because in a spreadsheet, there are many cells, there are so many things to look at. And the worst part is when the bad guy starts complaining why is their progress so slow? Why are they not delivering on time when we are actually not telling them where the mistakes are. So for the sake of the project, there was once I secretly slid some direct messages, DMs into the other team to basically tell them where the flaws are, because I know what are the correct values that we expect from our team. So I think this behavior is really bad because it slows down the entire project and makes people go through unnecessary work of rechecking everything. So from the bad guy's point of view, the idea is to make them feel the pain of going through all the whole work again and find a mistake so that they won't ever dare to send across a bad piece of work and will check their work more carefully next time. But I think a better way is to basically give direct and specific feedback to their work, pointing to the exact cell in the spreadsheet and walking them through how I could arrive at the correct answer. While it may take more time in the short term to explain to them and to get things going, but I think in the long run it works out the best because we're training them up to meet our expectations. It's kind of like giving them a fish and teaching them how to fish at the same time so that they know how to catch the fish next time. The next kind of toxic behavior that I've seen is to copy in a boss's boss in an email reply. And in that kind of email is usually a reply to some kind of unsatisfactory work, and in the bad guy's mind, the reason is because they want to put pressure on the other side to do a better job. In that sense, it may come across as an act of war because you're alerting your manager's manager, and that's usually something that they don't need to know, and it's already escalating the matter to a bigger boss attention, which it really doesn't need to. But the bad guy hopes that it will send a message to their team so that the big boss would check on them and find out why are they getting this complaint looking email and what could they do better. But till this day, I haven't seen any success of this method. In the end, it just annoys the other team and makes them hate the bad guy even more. I think a more polite way is to negotiate with the other side first over the phone, just like saying, hey, I think I think you should try to do this in this way, and it's going to work out best for the both of us. But if it doesn't work out, a softer method, I think, is to at least bring it up to our manager first so that our manager could speak to the other side's manager and let them have their own one-to-one conversation so that they can work things out. And I think this tends to work out better because it will not hurt anyone's feelings, especially in the public way. Okay, so the third kind of toxic behavior I've seen is to hoard knowledge and just avoid documenting your knowledge down in an otherwise very helpful manual for fears of losing their job or for some other irrational fear that other people would not be able to follow what you're saying. So basically, the bad guy claims that we should not write down our knowledge or compile them in a standard operating procedure and SOP because it makes people dumber by just pushing the buttons every time and not thinking through the steps. Plus, the bad guy also claims that the knowledge that we're trying to communicate here is super complex and is very difficult to describe in words. Even if it can be, it would be in every interest of the bad guy to hide it forever and never reveal the secret weapon, right? Otherwise, it will become ineffective or make the person redundant. I think this is a classic problem where a person just wants to hoard knowledge, just wants to guard knowledge so that they can preserve their status as being the subject matter expert. But I think in an ideal world, we should share knowledge with one another, build each other up to help each other become more efficient at helping each other. But unfortunately, some people fear that by teaching others to become better than them, it would put them out of job. But I think that this is really backward thinking, because the more forward-thinking managers today would see it differently, that hey, you are a good teacher, you are able to make other people become better or even as good as you. So I would want to put you in a different team so that you can try to make things work over there. And all the more because you could raise new leaders, it would definitely be valuable to have you around in a company. So these are the 3 most toxic behaviors I've seen in the office, and I really hope that none of you are going through this kind of situation. But if you do, my best advice is to basically talk to our managers about it in a very open conversation. If the manager is being the person who is being toxic, then I would suggest talking to the next level up, which is our manager's manager, so that we could share with them and confide in them and look for strategies on how we can deal with this toxic behavior. So thanks for watching this video. I hope this has been helpful. Let me know in the comments below on what other toxic behaviors you've come across. And I also just want to learn from your experience what are some of the effective ways to deal with them. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in my next video.